Hello, this is Julie Taylor, and you are listening to my Art History Interview Podcast. During this podcast, I will be presenting the thoughts and insights of marketing professional and Full Sail University Department Chair Annie Quayle. During our interview, held on February 14th of 2012, I was able to learn a lot about how our modern society is influenced by visual images and art. The following is a narration of our discussion. What do you see as the role of visual arts in our mass-mediated world, and particularly in your profession? In marketing, visual art plays an incredibly significant role. Essentially, the goal of the marketer is to get in the mind of their consumer and persuade them to choose their product or service over someone else's. With so much going on and so much noise, visual imagery is often the first thing that a consumer will notice. So much can be said without a single word by simply managing the art you use and the images you choose. As our consumers want more personalization to their products and services, the marketing we provide them also needs to speak to the individual in a personal way. Visual art often allows marketers to create a connection by evoking an emotion that words can't. With new communications and media technologies, imagery is almost instantly available. Do you believe this is having a positive or negative influence on the industry? I believe it depends on the perspective you look at it from. The fact that everything is instantly accessible causes legal issues for those creating that imagery. Protecting your creative property becomes a continuous uphill battle. However, from a marketing and promotions perspective, the instantaneous response can be an extremely good thing. For example, consider the Super Bowl party ads recently. Very few ads are actually debuted at the Super Bowl. They are released ahead of time and go viral on websites such as YouTube. Everyone knows about them before they even hit the television airwaves, and by then, the consumer wants to see it live because they've seen it in other avenues. From a public relations perspective, this can go both ways. In the entertainment world, especially when thinking about celebrity personalities, a picture can make or break your career. The fact that an image taken at a bad angle, time, or out of context can be used will certainly hurt the popularity of the individual. It creates an uphill battle for self-management, and it definitely creates an extra noise for marketers, but it creates a unique new opportunity to market in ways we never have before. What popular images do you see that are frequently rechanneled throughout the entertainment industry? History always repeats itself, and the entertainment industry is a great example of this. You'll see consistency in storylines for films, television, and even the pictures displayed in magazines and books. Everyone loves a human interest story, so even the news sensationalizes imagery to their benefit. For example, turn on one of the morning shows and watch how they use imagery to enhance the emotional reaction to a story. When a child disappears, they choose the cutest pictures possible. When a celebrity is arrested, they choose the worst picture they can find or a mugshot that will never disappear. It's sensationalism at its finest. Again, it ties back to the emotional reaction. Are there particular images that this industry has popularized and/or created? Absolutely. Our fashion trends, for example, come from what we see on our favorite celebrities. Entertainment decides what is acceptable and unacceptable and what are the norms in our society. For example, the entertainment industry has celebrated the waif-thin and valued youth for a long time. We've popularized these images to the point that our society has to be thin and look young. Celebrities use extreme tactics to maintain a youthful appearance as long as possible, which turns into a need for beauty care products for the average person to look as good as their favorite star. Who is one of your favorite visual artists, and/or what is your favorite style of visual art? Wow, tough question. My first reaction was to say photography, and in particular, Annie Leibovitz. She is often used by Rolling Stone, Vanity Fair, and so forth to photograph images of celebrities in unique and vulnerable settings. Annie does an amazing job of capturing the emotion she hopes to create in the picture and translating it to her audience. She sees life through a very different lens than most of us, so to speak. I think I love photography because it's up to the mind of the audience to decide what they are looking at and what is most essential in that picture. What one person sees, the other may not. There's so much beauty in capturing the most simple of images. How has your knowledge of famous artworks influenced your creative process? I don't know that any particular artwork has influenced my creative process. However, I would be remiss in saying that images that we have seen over time have not helped to develop my creative choices and decisions. I think, if anything, I have used the artwork I connect with as a way to influence and develop my own craft. Do you feel that the visual arts are a key factor in our recorded history? Without a doubt, all kinds of art have impacted history. From the simplest cave drawings helping us to understand the life of a caveman to how imagery represents our view of news, it's all impacted history and what we decide to be valuable and significant. What are your thoughts on the historical story we are telling with our current advertising and marketing campaigns? I have my concerns and reservations at times. I'd consider myself on the conservative side of liberal, and sometimes I feel that the images we represent through advertising and marketing are creating a very negative impact on society. We rely on media to raise our children and influence our decisions, whether we realize it or not. From birth, we are introduced to a self-depreciating and violent imagery. It's hard to filter it as just advertising when you don't know any different. I think that marketers have a responsibility to society to somewhat censor the images we portray. While I'm a firm believer in the freedom of speech and access to information, I do believe that it does not need to be thrust upon us in unhealthy forms.